Hi, and welcome to Tim's Old School Perspectives. Today, I'm going to talk about possibly one of the most emotionally charged and politically charged topics that one can possibly imagine. Possibly the issue of our times. I'll be talking about abortion. So, I'm going to start out by talking about in 2019, the Senate had a hearing and they had a vote, and it was about this.
We are here today to decide whether or not it should be legal in the United States of America to kill or neglect an infant who's been born alive after a botched abortion.
So, our leaders discussed whether it would be good to let a baby that was born alive being given an opportunity to live. A very fascinating topic. Should be an easy one, I would think.
If passed, it would have required doctors provide appropriate medical care to newborns who survive botched abortions.
So, the abortion doctors and their staff failed to kill the baby as planned. Now what? Maybe feed it, keep it warm, comfort it, show compassion? Well, let's see.
While the bill received a bipartisan majority, it failed to receive the 60 votes required to break a Democratic filibuster.
So, as you see, our senators are so weak and pathetic that they voted against a bill that would actually allow a baby to live if it was born alive, to be given the chance to live. Here's what our president had to say. This will be remembered as one of the most shocking votes in the history of Congress. Hard to believe. Horrific things happen at Planned Parenthood and other abortion clinics, and questionable practices are carried out more often than many people think.
In which the quote fetus comes out without any assistance from the abortion doctor, no instrumentation, so they're not dismembering it. There's no question in my mind that at least some of these fetuses were live births, Smith said.
It was an abortion doctor by the name of Dr. Smith who testified here. He testified to these practices, and it is known that body parts are harvested and sold. This is common knowledge. But the following clip tells a story so monstrous that it's hard to imagine.
On the final day of the hearing, that being the David DeLeiden trial, stem cell scientist Teresa Dacher testified that fetal hearts used in studies must be harvested from living babies. She said the heart has to be beating and be arrested in a relaxed position, end quote. If the babies die beforehand, the heart contracts and cannot be used.
While researching the story, I found videos that were so horrible online that I would never show it on my channel. It was just brutal. Second trimester abortion is about as horrific as a chainsaw massacre. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I don't want to watch it again. And it's just really, really gut-wrenching to have to deal with it. Making this video has been very rough, very emotional, and it's just really terrible. But in late-term abortions, sometimes the baby lives.
I discovered that not only was the hospital involved in late-term abortions, but sometimes babies survived, and if they survived, they were left to die in the soiled utility room. Christ Hospital admitted to the Chicago Sun-Times that between 10 and 20% of babies aborted by this method survived.
This hospital admitted that 10 to 20% of people or of babies survive abortions. 10 to 20%. And we're talking about late-term abortions now. Earlier ones, they just have to pull the baby all to pieces, and so there's really no way. But in late-term abortions, often they deliver the baby in a very natural way, and so that's just kind of how it works out. So this baby surviving would live out its life in a soiled utility room. So other babies have been put on shelves and different things in different places. And in the case of a convicted Philadelphia doctor, he actually just summarily murdered and executed babies that were born alive. But what about the survivors? The ones left to die. What would those hours be like? You know, the baby had 7, 8, 9 months of comfort, 98 degrees of warm womb to live in, and then they're on a shelf, and confusion sets in. What happened? And all of a sudden they don't feel so good. The baby cries. Much like a neglected animal, they have to wonder what went wrong, but they just don't know. And soon hunger sets in, and the baby needs help, but there's no help to be had. It becomes hard to breathe, as babies born a bit premature have not well-developed lungs, and so they struggle to breathe, and now the baby is just left shivering on a shelf, maybe 72 degrees, and the baby's never known anything but 98 degrees. It doesn't hear its mommy's voice anymore. It's just quiet. Maybe there's people rattling around outside of this utility closet. And instinctively the baby knows something's wrong. Something is very, very wrong, and time is ticking away. And the baby, of course, tries to live, because all organisms do try to live. When people are dying, they try to live. And the baby's fighting so hard, but its life is beginning to fade away. And then after long minutes, maybe hours, the baby awakes in the arms of a gentle Savior, to singing of angel choirs, to everlasting comfort. And so there is a good end, and there can be a good end. But when you're voting this fall, think about it. There's many senators who voted against babies being allowed to live even after they were born viable and born alive. And I can't find this to be acceptable. These senators should be voted out of office. I guess you could look up their records. It does tell in videos a lot of them that voted against and voted for. And obviously it was mostly Republicans that voted to save the lives, and it was mostly Democrats that that decided not to. But this bill had nothing to do with abortion. It wasn't threatening abortion. All it was doing was trying to save the lives of viable babies. And so that's all I have to say today. God bless. Have a great day, and peace out.